back here on the Rich Eisen Show. He was in Camden Yards last night. Our good friend, the actor Josh Charles. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. I thought I was here to talk about the Ken Starr interview. I'm sorry. I'm so confused.
No, Josh. If you want to do that, I will ask you a question. You just give me 3 different responses. Okay, just like Ken.
I think I just watched you do. I watched that video probably 5 times in a row and just kept laughing each time. I just loved your reactions to it.
Oh,
but no, I was at the game last night. It was an exciting one to be at, for sure.
So what do you think of this whole subject? Do you like?
Well, I mean, just sort of echoing what you were just saying. I think you have someone like Ventura, and I mean, who's a serial multiple offender, and these suspensions are supposed to be deterrents. So his past suspension last year was, 7 games? I think, you give a real sense of, maybe 25 games, make him miss 4 or 5 starts. That might be, an actual real deterrent that would keep somebody from repeatedly making those same kind of decisions. And I think, you could say the same thing, I guess, on the other side. I mean, yes, Manny charged the mound, but I think in this situation, if a guy's doing that repeatedly and he's only getting, he's only missing 1 start, what's the deterrent? And so, I don't know what would have changed that last night. But at the same time, knowing that somebody has a history of that, he threw inside earlier, they were jabbing at each other verbally. You could see Manny staring him down earlier when he came in.
He did.
I didn't see the replay of that, but I saw it from the stands, and I definitely clocked it. So it didn't surprise me that something like this was going to happen. But you wonder, could the umpire have jumped right in there and maybe threw him out of the game? Because clearly, I mean, Jeff Fasano at Yahoo Sports wrote a great article about sort of Ventura's patterns, but more specifically, I think his tweet said, he was in the 96, 98 mile-an-hour range on his fastball all night, and the fastest he was clocked on the radar was the one that hit Manny dead center in the back at 99. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope that gets at least brought into the consideration when they're handing out the suspensions. I mean, Manny charged the mound. He should get suspended. He will get suspended. But I do think, do they factor in somebody who seems to be in the middle of a lot of these events? And I think even a lot of KC fans would agree with that. I mean, there's been a couple of them on Twitter, back and forth, people that want to make sure that they see both sides of it, and I get that. But I think even if a guy like that was on my team, I wouldn't be thrilled with it either. It's a reputation that comes along with it, and players know and they talk to each other. And I think when you're pitching well, maybe your team wants to put up with that a little bit more, but he's not pitching real well right now, and I think he needs to take that act and sort of figure it out.
Well, the Royals aren't playing well at all, Josh, and Buck even told Manny Machado, look out for it tonight, because that's what this guy normally does. Our poll question today is, would you ask it of Josh Charles as he's on the train back home?
Yeah, Josh, are you okay with this major league institution of self-policing, yes or no?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm okay with it, but I think it's not going anywhere. I mean, I think there's a level of it that I kind of dig, because it kind of keeps players, it keeps people in check. That there's checks and balances to it. You got guys protecting other guys. I think though, Rich, what you were just saying before I came on is this sense of like, guys, charging out of the dugout and all this stuff. I mean, half the time these things are just people tussling. Nothing's really happening. It's like, it's all for show to me. I think the real issues of people protecting other players are like somebody does something and you retaliate, but you don't retaliate where you potentially could be seriously injuring somebody. And I always felt like that was the old school code. You're not throwing at somebody's head, and you could say that he didn't throw at his head here, but still he hit a mid-back 99 mile an hour when he's, clearly throwing at him. And clearly as a guy taking offense to things at times with previous teams that one can just sort of wonder what exactly is going on. It doesn't really seem like, a ball hit up the middle. It like pisses him off if he gets, the ball hit to him. I'm not really sure what's going on inside his head, and I don't know the man. I have nothing against him personally, but I do think that you've seen this before with other players. I mean, throughout the years, but I just think right now he's struggling as a pitcher, and I think this is, it's just sort of showing it. So I don't know, to answer your question, do I agree with the old school sort of? Yeah, I mean, I I think that's not changing. You know,
I don't think there is a change. I don't think it's changing
No.
either. You're right. But,
No.
but at some point, you know, a stiff suspension to make people think twice about doing something like this. And then before I let you go, how about how wild was it in the stadium when Trumbo goes yard for the 20th time of the season, right after it, just right after it, Josh?
Yeah, and then there was another one following him. I mean, it was pretty sweet. The Royals are in a good groove right now. I got to say, you know, first two games against Boston, it looked like the wheels were coming off on this team a little bit. You know, we just weren't playing so well and going up against them, and then suddenly fall back, and then to rally, win those next two games, take 2 or 3 from the Yanks, and just be playing really good ball. Gallardo out, and I know he got the W last night, but it's been a struggle watching him pitch this year. But what Buck's been doing, the bullpen coming through and putting guys in there, and just the kind of gifts and instincts that he has, and knowing how to run a bullpen, to me, second to nobody. And I think, you know, I mean, Duquette manages to get these guys, you know, and something happens. He's got a gift of figuring out which guy we need to get that suddenly is just going to light fire.
It's all looking good. It's all looking good for you right now, Josh.
It's a fun team. It's a fun team. I mean, the one thing I heard Manny say is, you know, maybe this lights a spark. I don't think the team needs a spark lit right now. I mean, you know,
they're 11 over.
I certainly don't fault him for doing what he did. Listen, I get hit by a wiffle ball in the back. You know, somebody whizzing at me, I might want to charge them out. So, you know, who am I to tell somebody who just got hit with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball that they don't want to do something about it when they clearly feel it was thrown intentionally? So, but at the same time, I think this team, I don't know that we need any sparks. This team seems like it's really resilient. We're imperfect, but we're battling. I think there's no better manager that I want to have than Buck.
He's awesome.
And I totally, you know, I think Manny's, you know, has shown some moments of immaturity as a player, but in this situation, I back him 100%. I think, you know, I don't fault him, honestly. I mean, he did what he felt like he needed to do.
Josh, before I let you go, I couldn't help but notice your last tweet about what happened in the quiet car on that Acela train that you're on right now, Josh. Do we want to? Should I read it? Should I bring it to light? What do you think here, Josh?
Hey, man, it's your show.
Okay.
If you want to take it down to that level,
I always. Brockman, you ready for this one? 17 minutes ago, tweeted out at Mr. Josh Charles, a man just farted in the quiet car while I was walking through it, and the woman behind him asked him to, quote unquote, please lower his farts. Did that really happen, Josh? For real?
Rich.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
No kid. Was that loud in the quiet car? For real? Like a thunderclap? Is that what happened?
Wow. I support my team, Rich. I support my team. Team quiet car.
All right.
The point of the tweet, Rich, was that people take the quiet car very seriously, and when you're on an Amtrak train that is going so slow that I mean, I swear we've been averaging about 10 miles an hour on this trip back to New York. It's been a really time to sort of contemplate, think about baseball. And so jumped at the chance to be able to talk to you.
Thank you, Josh.
And your gang there
You bet.
about important things. But has the general consensus been, I'm on the train and I can't really listen, has the general consensus been about what happened last night? What, from people calling in?
What's the poll question as the results right now?
Yeah, it's 65% are okay with Major League Baseball's self-policing.
They're fine with it. They kind of agree with what you're saying, Josh. Yeah. As you just saw some self-policing in the quiet car as well. Thanks for calling in, Josh. You take care of yourself, okay, bud?
I'll talk to you guys.
All right, bud. Take it easy. At Mr. Josh Charles on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.